Scorpio, welcome to your monthly sidereal forecast for September of 2015. My name is Athen. So we've got a very transformational month this month in September. We have the eclipses taking place and a lot of the slow-moving planets forming aspects. So it's going to be very significant, especially for our life path. All of our life path will continue to change very, usually dramatically, and usually always for the best, though, in regards to, these eclipses, which are the north and south nodes of the chart. So I'll go ahead and cover it in detail. If you have any questions, please do let me know. For a more detailed look, do check out your weeklies, where I'll be able to go into it more specifically because there's a lot going on. And if you are new to Sidereal Astrology, do check the description down below because your sign will likely be different if you're used to the mainstream astrology on the internet. So let's go ahead and look at this, Scorpio. So right off the bat, on the first, we've got a conjunction between your ruler Mars and Venus, which is pretty nice, very nice actually, with Venus conjuncting any ruler. So I think you guys coming into this month should be feeling, quite good. Like it's beauty. It's either feeling good, feeling beautiful, wanting to connect to beauty, connect to relationships. Venus does naturally rule your 7th house. She also rules your 12th, so maybe relaxing. It can be a very relaxing kind of energy. Now, do take note that Venus is retrograde right at the beginning all the way up until the 5th and 6th. So you are probably reflecting on the relationship stuff. You probably are reflecting on the spiritual stuff, whatever it might be for you. But, still, you can enjoy it. You can, put energy into it or what have you. But that stuff's going to start to move forward around the 5th and 6th once Venus starts to go direct. But one thing about this conjunction is that it does create a lot of passion and a lot of excitement, and especially with Mars now going into a sign where he's finally in a friendly sign where he hasn't been in a long time. I think all of us are going to have a strong sense of motivation. And I think you Scorpios are on fire. I mean, there's a lot of energy going on. You've got Mars going into Leo in a friendly sign. He's at the top of your chart, which is where he has his greatest directional strength. You've got your Sun at the top of the chart where you have your greatest directional strength. So there is a lot of energy and a lot of motivation. Now, do take note that this is a very spiritual month, because the eclipses are all involving Pisces and oppositions up to Neptune, which I'll talk about. So there will be that importance of, the intuitive, home, family, grounded in the spiritual side of things. However, there certainly is quite a bit for you guys to get done. So with that being said, you guys have that conjunction, and then Mars is going to be going into this area of your chart where he has the most energy. Now, this area is your 10th house, and this is where a lot of this energy has been. A lot of energy for your work, your career, your public life, your legacy, your big picture plans, right? This is all 10th house activity, excuse me. So there's where I think you're going to have the strongest motivation. I think that's where you've already had a lot of focus, which has been where the sun energy is. We've already probably had a lot of opportunities where there's Jupiter transiting here for the past few months. So through this, naturally, the opportunities should continue. The motivation should start to increase a little bit, and you'll probably notice this right at the beginning of the month. Now, also on the 1st, the sun does oppose up to Neptune. So this is, like I was saying, especially with home and family, there's this Neptunian energy about you guys relaxing into your feelings. And it can be very, literally, like spending time at home, spending time with family, connecting to your roots, uncovering more about your roots. This kind of thing has been a spiritual process over many years for you. And that's where you'll find the relaxing energy. Because with all of that in your 10th house, there's a lot of this public, big picture stuff. But to ground it, obviously the 4th house opposite that is what grounds this. So realizing that the domestic and personal life is equally as important as the career or public life, and that will help balance out those energies. So, and it can be very relaxing since it is involving Neptune. So trust and faith too about where you're headed, where you're going, where you are putting energy in regards to these 10th house matters will be important also. Now, like I said, on the 5th and 6th, Venus does go station direct. So you'll probably notice the relationship stuff and maybe even the spiritual relaxation coming a lot easier. Now, she has to get out of her shadow, but as the month unfolds, that will increase that energy there. And then let's see here. On the 7th, 8th, and 9th, your ruler trines up to Uranus. So it's very nice for both you and Aries because Mars is, there's going to be a square up to Saturn, which I'll talk about. But this early part of the month, There is inspiration, like I was saying, but there is excitement. There's wanting to mix things up. And this is all coming from your sense of self-expression. A lot of you have gone through a transformation and will continue to go through a transformation of your creativity, your self-expression, expressing yourself. And, on a more material level, this can have to do with creative projects, entrepreneurship, children, anything that is about what we create or we enjoy out of life. So there's been this freedom hopefully invoked in that part of your life, which will further assist more of this motivation and drive for you. And it certainly can create opportunities in your 10th house sector this month. But I do recommend expressing yourself that, peaceful, balanced way, which is, of course, how you Scorpios naturally do it with Pisces ruling your 5th house. But in either case, I think it's supportive both with the career side of things and the creative side of things this early part of the month. Now, the 11th through the 17th has a few different transits going on this middle part of the month, basically. From that time period, Mercury will be sextiling up to Venus. So there is this enjoyment about the groups and friends sphere. And that's where, or anything technological or innovative or community-based, because that's where Mercury's been transiting since last month, and the North Node's been transiting for the past 2 years. So the life path stuff has been unfolding for you guys to see larger, to give to some sort of cause or some sort of organization or group or thing larger than self in that regards. And that's where the energies will continue to transform. Now, things are certainly shifting more into the career side of things for you in the big picture sense. But still, there's going to be a lot of energy of that 11th house for you still. So continue with that. Put any energy into that, and what you'll find is you're probably enjoying that quite a bit, especially this middle part of the month with Mercury sextiling Venus. Now, also during this time period, Jupiter does oppose up to Neptune. So again, the importance of balancing the work and personal life, and I think through that you'll probably see some more opportunities. But remember to have faith and trust that everything is expanding and coming to you in divine timing in that area. Even though there is opportunities, it does take that faith and trust to, be patient with it or whatever it might be for you personally. Now, on the 13th, we do have that solar eclipse taking place in your 10th house. So there are some new beginnings shaping up for the next 6 months in regards to your career. Big major shifts to your life path. So during this time period, around the 13th, reflect on it. It's the lowering of energies. It's the new moon type of energy of the solar eclipse. So there's usually spiritual insight. There's some, understanding of things on an internal level, which will then prompt more energy to be put into it. Not only this month, as the month unfolds, but in the next 6 months, where you're going to have a culmination of this in the May, April time period of next year. So set new intentions, think about, and then as the month unfolds, start to put more of the energy. You probably will be all month in regards to career, big picture things for you, public life even. So that's the eclipse. And then around the 17th, Mercury goes retrograde. So these things that you are maybe, thinking about with friends or organizations and groups and putting energy into that, you're going to reflect on it, and that's good. Going into October, rework, redo the group sphere, the community sphere. How can you be a part of groups, communities? How can you get more technologically involved? How can you network more? These are the kinds of energies that you want to treat as a learning process going into October, because it will be assisting and facilitating the other areas of your life, probably mostly the career front of things. And reflect on, more, trust in others and getting deeper connections with others as well, which is always the case for you when Mercury goes retrograde, since he does rule your 8th, reflecting on that as well. So that's going to be important around this time period. The sun goes into your 11th, so I think you'll have a lot of focus and intention to get involved with these big picture things or, ideals that you have. And like I said, that's going to be the shift here, this middle part of the month, which will take you into the next coming months where more energy will be about these 11th house matters. This can also be enjoyment from your work, because second from the 10th, the 11th house shows us what our gains are from work. So, the greatest satisfaction from work is giving to causes and ideals, and to network and to meet people and have fun and excitement that way. Might also be income from your work as well. So whatever you're focused on there, redoing it, reworking it, but putting energy into it, as it's been important for you with the North Node here, you'll find creating a good intention, a good focus for you, and perhaps some things coming back to you in that regards. So that's going to be the 17th, 18th through into October. We've got Saturn sextiling the North Node. So hopefully over the past couple years, you guys have been putting in some good discipline with spiritual things, whether it's meditation, yoga, anything you do for spiritual activities to help you relax. Continue to do that. That's Saturn in your 12th house. Ground that spiritual energy, make it into a reality. And what you'll find is that's supporting your life path very much this month, even going into October. Okay, and that's again a life path that's leading you towards more networking and more other oriented sort of energy. So from the 23rd to the 27th, we got a few aspects going on that are of importance. One, the sun will be conjoining up to that North Node there. So again, more shifts and changes towards more of that 11th house stuff for you. And then Mars also does square up to Saturn. So here's where I was saying where it's great. You guys have a lot of motivation, no doubt. But towards this later part of the month, around the 24th, 25th, really from the 24th to the 27th, we're all going to have a test of our patience. And this will be especially the case for you since Mars is your ruler. So Saturn here is all about patience. And usually a square energy says, if we're working hard in a particular area, this is where we face our first challenges. This is where our perseverance is really tested. Our patience is really tested. So step into patience, step into that long-term approach. Take it slow. It might be 2 steps forward, 1 step back in the career front or in the public sector. But what you'll find is if you are open to patience, longevity, that Saturn energy, that you can accomplish quite a bit in regards to this 10th house for you. 24th and 25th has Pluto going station direct. So anything you've been reflecting on about the financial or material side of things and stepping into your power there over the past 6 months, whatever you've been reflecting on in regards to that will start to move forward for you. That'll be mostly going into October once Pluto gets out of his shadow period. But step into your power this later part of the month to make change in the material security part of your life and start implementing whatever you've learned over the past 6 months with that. So that's it with the major transits. Now, of course, we do have that lunar eclipse taking place 27th, 28th here in that 5th house of yours. So like I was saying, it's all about self-expression and whatever new beginnings came to you around self-expression, children, enjoyments of life, creative projects, entrepreneurship since May of this year, 6 months ago, is now culminating for you. And this culmination is coming because you've either seen it, you've been aware of it, may have been more internal for you, but in either case, you have that awareness now. So this month, especially this later part, continue to put energy into that. Continue to see how you can have more fun, joy, passion in your life and bring that energy into the other areas of your life, whether it is a creative project or not, into your work, into your relationships, into what have you. Through that, what you're going to find is it's creating a strong illumination now with this lunar eclipse of how you can have more fun, have more passion in your life, and how to implement that. So with that, just like with all oppositions, which it's a lot like the full moon energy, bring this creativity and passion into these group projects, into these ideals, into whatever it is that you're really focused on in that idealistic sense with the 11th house or technological or whatever. Here, your voice, yourself, your true self with Uranus especially, has been trying to express itself. So around this time period, it's like I said, going to be a very spiritual month. It's happening in Pisces. There's a lot to be seen by this, but the insight that comes to you, use it and implement it. It's not like the solar eclipse where it's more internal. This is much more active. And then what you'll find is that it's creating big changes in your life path. Some of you will have major changes in regards to those areas that I mentioned. But for a lot of you, a culmination of anything new that's came to you since around spring of this year in regards to 5th house. So that's it. And then Mercury does conjunct up to the sun here on the 30th, capping off the month. So some more shifts and new insights about whatever you're reflecting on about those 11th house matters, groups, networking, ideals, and visions larger than self. All right, Scorpio, so have a great month. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know. If you'd like a personal look at your chart, do click the link down below. And like I said, if you want to get more specific, do check your weekly where I go into this in more detail. So have a good one. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you all next time.